Um, well, it's towards the end of this month, but earlier on this month, there was very good news for Sean Ellis. Obviously, people in the Making a Murderer community watched, obviously with horror, Trial 4, particularly at the end, and couldn't help but wonder, is the way that Boston tries to deal with Sean Ellis, is that what's going to happen with Steve? Basically get to the stage where, obviously afraid to try and retry for a fourth time, Sean Ellis, hence the name of the documentary, Trial Number 4, because Trial Number 4 never happened. But for Steve just to get a retrial, I don't think there's any way the state would try and do that. They will try and do something similar to what the state did with Sean Ellis, and say that we firmly believe we've got the right person, but because of the fullness of time, because of the amount of time that's elapsed, we're not going to retry. But they're going to try and discredit and try and make themselves look as good as they possibly can, which is going to be incredibly difficult to do. But here is a most recent article about Sean Ellis. Just put me up at the top there, so I'm out of the way. Good. So that one. Judge overturns last remaining conviction against Sean Ellis. Sean Ellis is no longer a convicted felon. Ellis spent more than 20 years in prison for the 1993 killing of Boston police detective John Mulligan. That conviction was overturned in 2015 after the detectives who investigated the crime were accused of their own illegal activities. Prosecutors declined to try Ellis a fourth time. Despite the reversal, Ellis still had a single gun possession conviction. A Suffolk Superior Court judge on Tuesday declared justice was not done in that case either and ordered a new trial. Suffolk County District Attorney Rachel Rollins had taken the unusual step of endorsing Ellis's motion for a new trial so her office could drop the gun charge, filing what's called a nolle prosequi. In a court filing, Rollins said the case was tainted by significant and egregious police corruption and prosecutorial misconduct. Where have we seen that before? The New England Innocence Project, as we see here, tweeted, "This whole case is a very sad chapter in the history of the criminal," I refuse to use that word, system, criminal legal system. Thankfully, this chapter seems to be nearing its conclusion. Strong words by Judge Ullman today, overturning final wrongful convictions of Sean Ellis. Amazing work. Obviously, we remember very fondly Sean's attorney, Rosemary Scapicchio, and thank you to DA Rollins. Ellis's longtime attorney, Rosemary Scapicchio, said Ellis is happy to have his nearly 3-decade chapter of his life over. She said, "These are the days you live for, when you can give someone back their life and have them have a clean slate, and something that Sean has been fighting for 29 years, she said. Rollins said in a statement Tuesday that the judge's decision marks the end of a long and troubling chapter in Boston's history. She noted that both the Mulligan and Ellis families have suffered. We need to continue to work together as law enforcement partners to make sure the criminal and unconstitutional behavior that infected every part of the investigation into Detective Mulligan's death can never happen again," Rollins said. "I am committed to doing just that. Filing a nolle prosequi is part of that commitment." But Scapicchio said she hopes prosecutors investigate other cases worked by the corrupt detectives from Ellis's case to see if other people were wrongly convicted. And that certainly we want to see in the case of Lenk and Colburn. We want to have a bit of justice for Ricky Hochstetler. As Rosemary quite rightly pointed out, it didn't begin and end with Sean Ellis. Rosemary said, I'm hopeful that if that investigation truly goes forward, that other people who are now sitting in a jail cell, convicted of crimes they didn't commit, will have the opportunity to prove their innocence and be free. The Boston Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment Tuesday. In March, the current leader of the department, Superintendent-in-Chief Gregory Long, said in a statement that the Boston Police Department's belief remains the same, that there was sufficient credible evidence to support a conviction for illegal firearm possession. Obviously, Sean's case received national attention this year through the Netflix documentary series Trial 4. And I thought what we might do is, if I can get this to work. Yeah, there we go. This is the document that's filed. Massachusetts versus Sean Ellis. Commonwealth's nolle prosequi for 1995 firearms conviction. The Commonwealth respectfully files this nolle prosequi on the above named indictment for the reasons stated in the response to the defendant's motion for new trial. Said response is attached to this nolle prosequi for convenience. Rachel Rollins. So I'm going to have a hunt about and see if I can find some more of the correspondence, if you like, that was sent between Rosemary and Rachel Rollins, and this judge's criticism of the Boston Police Department. Be interesting to see what sort of ferocity they talk about there. Anyway, that was just a brief. It was something that I was alerted to, I think, at the beginning of the week. Rosemary herself, that was it, that had posted it, that the, finally, Sean Ellis's case is finally done and dusted. That was the last hurdle that Rosemary had to overcome on this epic journey. So yeah, many congratulations, obviously to Sean, but particularly to Rosemary. I think a lot of us see her as having that same sort of tenacity and courage and skill and knowledge on a par with the likes of Kathleen Zellner. We just hope, of course, that for Sean Ellis, that the settlement that he gets in the end will be substantial. That's going to be the way that you discourage stuff like this ever happening again. If you hit people in their pockets, they really, really do take it seriously. Anyway, thanks again for taking a few minutes to join me for that. As I say, very interesting, great news for Sean, etc. Catch you all again soon. Bye for now.